Hi, it's Dave Michaels from Talking Points. I'm in Dusseldorf, Germany for Cognigy Nexus. We just had the opening keynote from Philipp, Heltewig, the CEO and founder, co-founder.
Yeah.
And fantastic keynote.
Thank you.
Really good. You really set up a lot of information in there. But I got a few questions for you out of that.
Yeah.
One question is, you said you're servicing over 1,000 brands. You're like a 8-year-old company. You don't get to 1,000 brands that quickly. So especially in this emerging space, could you explain that or defend that?
Sure. Well, obviously you can because we did it, right? And the way that we look at it, we don't just look at companies, we look at brands, right? So we're dealing with a lot of multinational, large conglomerates like Nestle.
Impressive logo list I saw. It was very, yeah.
So take Nestle. I mean, how many brands are underneath that are using our software and that are, to the outside world, it's like these brands are using Cognigy, right? So it's Nestle, Allianz Insurance, Lufthansa Group, et cetera, et cetera. So the number of brands that are using Cognigy is actually significantly above 1,000.
Okay. You also talked about you had your Series C funding. I think you said 100 million.
That's right.
So is that related to the casino event you're having tonight here at Nexus, or what are you doing with
I
that?
hope not. We'll have to ask the CFO, but no, it's not.
What are you doing with all that money?
Yeah. So, I mean, the AI market is moving at a breakneck speed, right? It's real crazy, and in order to maintain a leadership position like we have, you have to invest significantly in research and development, which is what we're doing. So the majority of the funds are going into research and development and go to market, because of course market access is what matters. If we get our product in front of customers, then we have a very high chance of winning the account. So go to market. We've just opened a new office in London. We've also opened up an office in Amsterdam. We have our existing quite sizable operations by now in the United States. So it's our second largest market last year, and this year probably going to be our largest market in the world. And then of course our home turf in the DACH area. So yeah, that's where the money is going: research and development and go to market.
Now, all this expansion, conversational AI is a horizontal tool, works in a lot of different use cases and industries. I know you're in a lot of different use cases and industries, but it seems like you're specializing in customer experience.
Yeah.
Now, just within customer experience, there's a lot of options on conversational AI uses and technologies, and a lot of the CCaaS vendors have their own solutions. How do you stand out?
Yeah, so I believe the biggest success factor for any startup or scale-up company is focus, right? And we're focused really on AI agents in the enterprise contact center. So we have traditionally been mainly focused on customer service, which is what's being handled in those enterprise contact centers. We're now also expanding into marketing and sales use cases. But again, it's always about the enterprise, because enterprises have very different requirements when it comes to software compared to small and mid-sized businesses, right? There is scalability, there is security, there is compliance, there is integration capabilities, there is monitoring capabilities, et cetera, and that's what we excel in.
Now, I know you've got some integrations with companies like 8x8 and Avaya.
Yeah.
But are you limited to the companies you have integrations with, or how do you approach an enterprise contact center that on whatever platform? How do you?
Sure. No, so we don't. I mean, we're a CCaaS agnostic platform. You can use Cognigy with pretty much any CCaaS, right? So the question is, who sits in front? If we sit in front, and is it a call or is it a chat? Do we then forward to the human agent afterwards, or does the contact center sit in front and always pipes us through? So there are a couple of ready-made integrations with Genesys, Avaya, 8x8, Cisco, RingCentral, NICE, et cetera. But in general, all of these are based on standard technology, SIP, et cetera, when it comes to voice. So we integrate with pretty much any CCaaS out there, and we're agnostic.
All right, one last one. You used a new acronym, ACI, Artificial Capable Intelligence.
Yeah.
Now, I'm the one who makes up acronyms around here, so but that was a new one on me. So can you, why don't you explain to everybody what ACI is and what you mean by that?
Well, firstly, I can't take the credit. It was Mustafa Suleyman of Microsoft AI, the CEO of Microsoft AI, who made up the term, and I read it in a book. And I thought that it actually fits really well what we're doing.
What is this reading in a book thing? You recommend this? Oh, never mind, go ahead.
I read books sometimes. No, it's in the book The Coming Wave. It's really interesting. If you haven't read it, you should check it out. It's about AI and also biotechnology and how things are going to change, or how he predicts things will change. And he's talking about ACI, so artificial capable intelligence, which is kind of like a step in between artificial narrow intelligence and artificial general intelligence. So artificial narrow intelligence being the AI that can only do one thing well, like classify an intent, classify an image, generate a piece of
And
text.
that's still being used. People think that's dead, but it's still important.
No.
Yeah, okay.
99% of what's being done is that still. The visible stuff is Gen AI, right? But even Gen AI, like if you just take the text generation capabilities of certain models, that is not artificial capable intelligence. That's still narrow because you just generate text, right? Just because the text that it generates are nicely sounding, it doesn't mean that it can really do anything, that it's going to hack your bank account or whatever. It's not happening. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have artificial general intelligence, which is like human level intelligence that can do anything, right? It can generate stuff for you, can analyze stuff for you, can classify stuff for you, can take action, et cetera, et cetera. Now in the middle, and that's something that is really interesting because when we as researchers and humans trained large language models, we trained them with the goal of being amazing text generators. Okay, so we have probabilistic word generators. And something that I think stunned everyone was that when we fed the large language models with all this text, we discovered an emergent reasoning capability underneath the surface of this probabilistic word generator. Now, why is that? Well, my theory is that because we encode logical reasoning in human text. Okay, so all of a sudden we discovered, well, you can use these large language models not just to generate nicely sounding text, but actually to reason logically, similar to what a human can do. And they do this using chain of thought approaches and things like that. Now, all of a sudden you had AI that was capable of reasoning. And now that it is capable of reasoning, it's capable of also doing something. Because what we do is we provide the AI with tools, let's say APIs. You have an API to validate an email address. You have an API to call up a user account. Now the AI, maybe I say, okay, what's my account status? It doesn't know the email yet. And then the AI goes, okay, what shall I do next? Okay, I want to call up the account tool, so I need to know the email address. I'm going to ask the user the email address. So it says, hey, what's your email? And I go, yeah, my email is XYZ. And then it goes, okay, now I have the email. I should probably validate it before I call up the other tool. So it calls up this tool, gets an answer, calls up the second tool, gets an answer and tells me. So that is progressive reasoning, right? So these ACIs are AI agents that are using reasoning to actually perform a well-informed action or a series of actions in sequence. And that is new. So they're not made to generate something, right? They're made to solve an issue. And that issue is being solved by reasoning and following reasoning, planning, and then following that plan and executing tools. And that is, in essence, the basis for the Cognigy AI agents in customer service. So no longer are you going in and describing every single process and pathway, but it's just like with a human. You go like, hey, Dave, you work in Cognigy customer service. You can call up Zendesk. You can put in a ticket number. You can update a ticket. You can also check something in this knowledge base, and then here's a fourth tool. I don't need to tell you if the customer says this, then you look in you know that. You're a human, right? So now the customer comes, says something, and you go like, oh, I should check in Zendesk, and then you do that. So, and that is very similar to how we now train those ACIs. We don't train them in every single process, but we just give them the tools, give basic instructions, and then the magic happens almost by itself.
It is magic, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing. Well, a fantastic keynote, like I said, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and we'll have more.